I just want to say, look, I've never had to retract the story. The amount of times that a player has denied it, then the team has denied it, then they've yelled at me in social media, then all of their fans have yelled at me in social media, and then the thing that I was talking about happens in 2 weeks later has happened more times than I can recount.
Quer ter cursos e conteúdos com os melhores jogadores de VALORANT do Brasil e tirar suas dúvidas em aulas semanais ao vivo com um coach profissional? Ter essa sua telinha dura analisada por um coach que vai te passar um treino personalizado pra você e nunca mais jogar sozinho e encontrar um parceiro de ranking com o mesmo objetivo que o seu? E calma, ainda colocar todo esse aprendizado em prática em um campeonato com narração e transmissão oficial? Então você precisa conhecer a Neverest. Lá você tem acesso a tudo isso por menos de R$1 por dia. E usando o cupom SMOKEMID15 você tem 15% de desconto. O link vai estar aqui na descrição. Fala galera, tudo bem com vocês? Na última semana o Xangares, que é um renomado coach e analista de VALORANT, postou em seu canal um vídeo com o leaker Slasher, onde segundo o Slasher, o Aspas iria sair da Loud no ano que vem. E esse vídeo repercutiu bastante em toda a comunidade de VALORANT, não só aqui no Brasil. E hoje eles soltaram mais um vídeo falando sobre o assunto. Lembrando que não é porque eu trago aqui no canal que eu concordo ou confirmo o que está sendo falado. O SMokemid é um portal de atualidades sobre VALORANT e sempre vai trazer para vocês tudo de relevante que está sendo veiculado tanto aqui no Brasil quanto no resto do mundo, para que vocês analisem e tirem suas próprias conclusões. Mas chega de conversa e vamos ver o que foi falado.
The big news that I revealed that we spoke about for a bit was that Aspas was having difficulties within Loud. And since then, I have been yelled at for about the past 72 hours by the entire country and a lot of people on the internet, which I will say I am used to. So I'm here to clarify a few things and give, kind of my thoughts on the situation. One quick clarification, as I'm not sure I was completely clear when we were talking about it. When Aspas was staying in Los Angeles, and Loud was going, back home. That is why they were scrimming with another player, because obviously Aspas was not with them. Doesn't necessarily mean that the player that they were playing with was going to be, the actual replacement for him, but it was because he was not there in the first place. I just wanted to clarify that situation. Now, as a general response to all of this, I have been reporting on player signings and moves from from players to teams pretty much before any other person in esports. As a journalist, I had been doing this for 15 years, almost 20 years now. As a whole, I was pretty much the first person within this industry to report on where players were coming and going all the way back in the Quake 3 and Quake 4 days, and then predominantly where it started and where the esports is getting really big back when StarCraft 2 first came out in 2009, 2010, and 2011. Now, I had been doing this since then, StarCraft 2, Counter-Strike Go, Overwatch, quite often.
Rod, you were being so wordy. I'm just going to get to the point for you here, okay? No, I know what you're getting at. You're just so goddamn wordy. It's driving me crazy right now. So all you got to say is that when people report this shit, the players and the teams have no option but to deny it. That's all you need to say. I know that's what you're getting at right now. That's just how it is. What are they going to do? They're going to admit it? No, they're not going to admit it. No matter if your report on that whole Aspas thing is true or false, the reaction from the players is the same. We both know that. We've both been here for a couple decades. They would never do anything different than that reaction. And I warned you when you made that video. I was like, bro, all they're going to do is deny it. It's going to be he said versus he said. And we're going to end up in this situation. Now, is that what you were saying right there? Because I feel like that's exactly what happened, and that's what you're getting at. Like
that is pretty much where I was going. I just want to say, look, I've never had to retract the story. The amount of times that a player has denied it, then the team has denied it, then they've yelled at me in social media, then all of their fans have yelled at me in social media, and then the thing that I was talking about happens in 2 weeks later has happened more times than I can recount.
Yes.
So if you don't want to believe me, that's totally fine. We will see in a couple months when Aspas, I would give it a 90 to 95% chance that he is gone from the Loud after this season.
I'm going to actually go against the grain with you, though, because in my history of esports, I agree what you said was likely true because your sources, whatever, told you that. But when these things get made public, the chance, it might have been 90%, but that chance has now dropped to maybe 50% because now there's like a new atmosphere within the team. Like you've changed everything and they're going to
them together.
Yes. Like low key, I've seen reports that I know to be true actually make the teams stick together. And it also, like I was saying on Plat Chat, like I low key think Loud is going to play well at Champions because teams that have fractures like that, where it's blatantly obvious to the players and the community now that there's problem within the team, they're going to grind still. They're definitely going to try their hardest. And there's not going to be so much pressure on the players. And I've seen, for lack of a better word, dead teams make some serious goddamn runs in esports tournaments, like to the extent of like winning them, right? Like they play their best in these moments because of the lack of pressure. So, and winning, like I said in that video, winning solves everything. So honestly, that video might have changed how this plays out. But I do think that you probably were correct in the video, even though I obviously have no inside info.
No, there is no probably. I absolutely was correct. No, and I actually think everything you just said right now and on Plat Chat is pretty much what could happen. I have gotten some additional information.
Oh shit, the tea.
I am now going to add on from my previous report, which is completely accurate, onto this now information. What I have learned since is that Aspas had, because all of their contracts are up at the end of the year. That's one of the main issues is that Aspas went to the Loud organization to ask for a raise and for a renewed contract, and Loud would not renew his contract or give him the raise that he wanted to, which is where some of the frustration is coming from his side. Additionally, part of the contracts that Loud gives to their players forbid the individual players from signing with outside agents, which is the standard for not just all of professional sports, but all of esports too. Almost all of your favorite players and all of the big players across all the major esports have their own independent agents to act for the best interest of the players. But within the Loud contracts, Loud wants to act as both as the team and the agent for the players.
Wait. Does that mean that like they obviously have to send the players the contract? What stops the players from getting like an agent to look it over and then tell the player to go change whatever terms?
That is true, but from what I understand, none of the players did that, and all of those terms are still within all 5 players currently under contract from Loud.
I will say
that only changed.
Well, they have 1-year contracts. So, like, honestly, Loud did kind of hook them up. Like, even though I do think it's weird that they couldn't have an agent, it's kind of crazy that Loud gave the #1 team in the world, they just won champions, 1-year contracts. Like, without right of first refusal, apparently, because someone told me from League of Legends that that's not allowed in League of Legends contracts, which, coming from Counter-Strike, that was in a lot of our contracts. So I guess it must not be allowed in Valorant. It must be a Riot thing. I don't know. I find that very odd that they give them 1-year contracts.
Yes, I find it odd too. They were probably put off by what happened, everything with Sasi and Pancata and them leaving towards Sentinels. Like, those guys did not have independent agents until they were able to leave Loud. As soon as the season ended last year, they were finally able to get an independent agent and then get their contracts with Sentinels. But because of this clause, that is not going to help the negotiations with Aspas or any of the other individual players. So that is part of the tension here with Aspas and the organization, not just the players themselves with Aspas and the rift between how much they think he's been dedicated to the team. I will say that sources from NRG say that the report that came out a couple days ago that they are interested in Aspas is not correct. And that, from what I understand, that is NRG has not offered, or they are not looking for Aspas for next year, and that they are very happy with artists currently. But I think obviously that is a situation that could change. However, Sentinels, I still think definitely is an organization that can be in play for Aspas. I have heard they have definitely potentially offered Aspas a major contract going forward, at least some from last year, and they are definitely interested in that for next year. So the NRG report is not true, but the Sentinels aspect definitely, yes, the NRG situation I believe is bullshit. The Sentinels aspect definitely is in play here. So I think next year Sentinels, all things can happen for Sentinels. I still think there is I think like 90% chance that Aspas is going to leave Loud next year, even though that I think definitely to your point that could decrease because of the reporting. Now they're going to come together and they're going to go on a run and they're going to win champions. Definitely possible. I think there's a 90 to 95% chance that Tens is no longer going to be on Sentinels next year, either from the organization standpoint that they no longer want Tens, or from Tens' standpoint that he would rather leave and either be as a full-time content creator or streamer, or even try to put options at another team. And that would leave open a prime duelist position for someone like Aspas to potentially team up with Sasi and Pankata on Sentinels next year. I think that is a very real possibility going into 2024.
That's super interesting.
Mas e aí, qual a sua opinião sobre tudo isso? Já deixa aí nos comentários, deixa também aquele like, se inscreve aqui no canal pra não perder nada, aquele abraço e até o próximo vídeo.